I just got an iPhone 16 Pro. Let's see if we can tell the difference between this and a GoPro. So just like everybody, I went to Amazon to see what I could find, and I found the pull dub top, pull something. 11 Labs, how do you pronounce this name?
It's pronounced pull top. Do your research next time.
Geez, I didn't know 11 Labs got an attitude, but that's cool. The main design goals I was hoping to account for here was first to have it attached by MagSafe, just so I wouldn't have to worry about any clamps or mounting clips interfering with buttons or screen access. Next, I needed a way to connect an external mic, preferably over USB, but analog would have worked too in a pinch. In this case, I got the double win because this enclosure can do both. And then lastly, to be able to charge it somehow while it's using it, and this one can do that as well. Next, because this thing supports full-length SSDs, the market was wide open, so it was kind of just the best value pick at the time, which happened to be this crucial 2 terabyte one. The iPhone 16 has a USB-C port that supports 10 gigabit per second. Keep that in mind, bit versus byte. I won't go into that full explanation, but long story short is, even though that is really, really fast, if you're going to connect this hard drive to a MacBook that supports 40 gigabit per second on Thunderbolt, you're not going to max that out, so you don't necessarily have to buy the fastest M2 on the market. I'll have the price of all this stuff down below and at the end here just for the price comparison, but it's very economical to have a more than fast enough M2 SSD that's 2 terabytes in size for the solution. Time to pull this all together here. So in a compact solution that is mobile and portable, we have the 2 terabyte hard drive and a DJI wireless microphone setup that can all fit in your pocket. Now let's see how it looks. All right, let's go outside and take advantage of the fall colors to get some hopefully beautiful footage. You may notice the quality dip here. We're going old school with the webcam approach because I had to build this guy to hold both my cameras stable, level, to try and capture the same shot on both platforms. This is just the GoPro selfie stick with a adjustable arm. Normally this arm is used to hold my phone for notes while I'm shooting other videos, but today it's a dual purpose to try and keep all of this in line as we're going. On the screen is the settings that I'm using for each camera. They are generally the best, or the internet starting point for each platform to get high quality footage or the highest quality footage. Then when we get all these clips back in here, my goal is to just kind of show the raw file first and then let Adobe take the wheel and just hit auto for color grading to see what we come with or come out with, and then let the footage speak for itself. So let's see how this plan works out.
You need to remember. Make the plan, execute the plan, expect the plan to go off the rails, throw away the plan.
So that plan failed, as you can see here. Auto is not auto enough, at least in the 2025 release of Adobe Premiere Pro. So new plan, we're going to start with the base flat file, the raw file, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to hit auto just to show the progression, and then I'll do 1 or 2 tweaks on the footage to show what the potential could be from a basic color correction standpoint. I don't want this to be, a detour down all the pros and cons of color grading, because that's a very loaded subject. I'm just trying to show the highlights on both platforms, what you get when you spend additional money above what is on your smartphone right now, and is it worth it to you? Then you can decide with what you're doing if either of those makes sense for your creative workflows. Sound good? All right. Watching the first two shots, you can definitely see that the base color, even in a flat sitting on the GoPro, is a just warmer color set. Along with the GoPro stabilization, it's some of the best stabilization built into a camera on the market without having to use a gimbal. The flip side, the color detail and color depth that's available on an iPhone Pro is just spectacular. I don't know how else to say that one. With these last two shots, we definitely have some low light issues on the GoPro, which they're known for having low light issues. And then on the iPhone Pro, we do have some motion blur shooting at 4K 30 frames per second. Let's talk about some costs. So I'm not gonna go through and read everything on the screen to you, but with GoPro, these are your worst case scenarios, the MSRP pricing. GoPro does do a lot of sales, so it's very easy to get this stuff on sale and bundled together. The only things I want to call out specifically are the media mod, because while it's not a day one requirement, it's going to be a requirement as soon as you want to use any of the accessories. So you might as well just kind of buy it up front. If you want to connect any external microphone to it, it's required. It doesn't have to necessarily be the DJI I had listed there, but any corded mic needs that media mod. If you want to use the monitor, that's how you attach it. The list goes on. And then next is the GoPro subscriptions. There's two tiers now. Basically, the main thing is if you have a GoPro, you should at least have the bottom tier, because that is your cloud storage for all your footage. So you got a backup. It's your insurance policy. If you break it, the device is covered, and it's your discount for accessories when you buy them directly through GoPro, which the pricing is usually equal to, if not better than what's on Amazon. Now let's look at the Apple pricing. For this to work, you need the 256 gig or larger iPhone 16 Pro, which is a $300 upgrade over just the base model iPhone 16. That upgrade price is what puts these two devices in the same category, because the price point is roughly the same. The downside of this is all the accessories are by third parties. So it's a choose your own adventure on what's the most important to you, because if it was up to Apple, you would pay them way too much for a lot of internal storage on an iPhone, and then maybe connect a third-party microphone if you wanted better audio. So with that being said, you kind of got to go to the camera companies to get things like the small rig cage to mount the external mic on, if you're actually trying to do external storage, external mic, and external battery, because all of them will come into play while you're shooting. If you have other priorities, or you're shooting in short bursts, or you're going to take frequent breaks where you can just plug in a battery pack, then the iPhone can still be a good mobile option, because then you don't necessarily have to have the external mic, the storage, and the battery all connected at the same time. We went over the picture quality, what you have to do to edit it, the pricing, all that stuff. Now let's kind of tie up some loose ends and wrap this all up here. File sizes. So for example, all of the footage I took of the fall leaves and the underpass and all that stuff, that was about 100 gigs total of raw footage for about 20 minutes of video. The way it broke down is it was about 15 gigs of GoPro and then 85 of the ProRes, and that was shooting both of them at high quality, 4K 30 frames per second. So dealing with those file sizes is definitely something you need to account for, because if you're gonna back all of your previous work up, you're gonna need a place to put it. And if you're doing 4.5 gigs of data per minute, that's gonna tear through some NAS storage or cloud storage really quickly. Furthermore, with this, when you start building out either platform, it doesn't really matter which one, the more stuff that you add to it to make it more quote unquote professional, the less mobile it becomes. It's ideal to get the GoPro little selfie stick because it's a remote and battery, and you need the media mod to connect it all. And then probably a good idea to have some type of monitor to watch yourself, and an external mic. And all of a sudden now this convenient mobile solution is a lot bigger than it started, and you're spending about $1,000 at that point. Same thing with the iPhone. Even with MagSafe, you kind of got to pick and choose which accessories you want. There isn't a good way to get an external storage, an external battery, and an external mic all attached using MagSafe without this thing either being super bulky, or you need to use a small rig cage on it, which then makes it larger than just buying a professional camera. Furthermore, on an iPhone 16, the other thing that I found with this one is if you don't use a MagSafe mount when you're recording yourself like this, then it's actually pretty hard to use any of the traditional cell phone mounts on it because of the addition of the action button. There's only a few slivers of space on the iPhone that you can actually fit a full grip on there without hitting buttons. Overall, they both have pros and cons, so you're going to kind of have to decide what is the most important to you to gauge the best value. Because if it's picture quality, that's definitely going to be the iPhone over the GoPro, but then you're gonna have to figure out the stabilization piece and the battery life, because shooting 20 minutes of ProRes video, I burned through about 60% of my battery. Now, if it's the overall experience where picture quality can go down a little bit, but then you have audio and battery life, then doing the GoPro setup with an external microphone is a very mobile option still, and you have that selfie stick. So it kind of just depends on how do you shoot. Right now, I am very impressed with the picture quality that can come out of an iPhone. But even shooting the demo footage on the iPhone for the comparison pieces, the two little post footage videos there, and this conclusion, it's kind of been a pain in the butt to set up this phone to be able to monitor myself. And I'm not 100% sure this entire time if I'm in frame or not. Even though the picture quality is better, it took me exponentially longer just to get set up and going on an iPhone than it would on the GoPro. Part of that is new hardware, I'll admit that, but at the same time, trying to now balance a hard drive on the mounting arm that I have is a new challenge I didn't have to factor in previously. So what do you guys think? You know, I try to provide as many examples and just kind of that logical step throughout this process, and all the links to all the products are down below. I know this is a product heavy video just because we're comparing two separate ecosystems. There's no way around that. But if you are curious about anything that was used, whether it be the iPhone, the GoPro, the external hard drive enclosure, the DJI wireless microphone, all that stuff is linked down below. Hopefully you'll find at least one of them useful for your setup. And after all this, which camp did you guys find yourself in? Were you more pro GoPro, more happy with the iPhone, or do you kind of just side with me at this point? You're like, I might as well just buy a professional camera. Let me know down there. Happy to discuss this. I like to geek out about tech. Reviewing the footage, it looks like I forgot to introduce myself in the beginning. My name is Terry, and I build stuff. And then sometimes I talk about the tools that you need to use to build stuff. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and consider subscribing. That will mean the world to me if we grow the subscriber count up to 100,000. Until next time, bye now.